East Baton Rouge Mayor President Sharon Weston Broome, good morning. How are you this morning?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. I'm glad to see that we don't have the anticipated rain that we thought we would receive, but nevertheless, we still have to remain vigilant.
It is a marathon. We've got a long way to go. We just saw our colleague Harrison Golden reporting from the Raising Cane's River Center, where he saw some porta potties. At this point, the River Center is not planned on being used as a temporary shelter.
No, it is not. In fact, we are asking people if they need shelter to go to the F.G. Clark Activity Center on Southern University's campus. That center is staged, open and ready to go for individuals, and so if people feel that they need shelter, we would like for them to go there. The River Center is not open, and it will be our center or shelter of last resort if we need it. And I will tell you that it will probably be directed more towards people who may need assistance from outside of East Baton Rouge Parish.
Evacuation type shelter.
Correct.
What have you guys been doing overnight? You had a news conference yesterday. What has happened from then until now with the storm preps?
Well, I will tell you that number one, our DPW has continued to identify areas, thanks to citizens who are contacting us, that possibly have obstructions to drainage, and we've been making sure all of that has taken place. Earlier this week, we deployed barricades. We have not had to implement those barricades because we don't have the deluge that we thought we would have at this time. And we've also taken care of an issue surrounding an aqua dam in certain part of our city that was certainly causing some citizens in a community, in a neighborhood, some great distress. So that no longer exists. And so we've been managing, monitoring, and we have certainly been encouraging and imploring our people to be prepared. And I will say, thanks to media outlets like yours and our Red Stick Ready platform, which we encourage people to stay in communication with us there, that our citizens and our community is much more prepared than we were in 2016.
And speaking of the historic flood of 2016, it sprung up on us. The city, the state wasn't as prepared as we are now. That's a huge notable difference here in 2019.
Absolutely. I will tell you that city parish government, first of all, we've been proactive for at least a week, recognizing that this weather event might come our way. And so our team has been out there cleaning, addressing issues, and so we are a lot more prepared. There's a collaboration among state and local elected officials, and so we are managing and leveraging resources. I declared a state of emergency in preparation in case we needed to seek federal assistance. So we've lined up, and I would say we followed the playbook really closely in terms of what we need to do when we have a major weather event.
Would you say, as a parish and as a state, as Chad mentioned, we've learned a lot from 2016 until now, and I know those fears are still real with people, but as you said, y'all have been on top of the storm from the beginning to make sure something like that doesn't happen again.
Yes, you know, one of my messages has been we can't operate in a spirit of fear, because fear paralyzes you, right? And I have seen our citizens shift from fear to being proactive. They've been, I would like to describe it as prayerfully prepared, right? And that kind of diffuses the anxiety and the fear. I don't dismiss the anxiety. I understand it, because when you've been through a flood, when you've been out of your house, in many instances, people are still trying to regroup from 2016. I get that impact. It's almost like, you know, post-traumatic stress syndrome when something like that happens. But I believe that people, because of what we went through in 2016, and because we had the opportunity to get ourselves positioned and prepared, that it has helped our citizens enormously in dealing with this issue.
You mentioned it yourself. We heard that soundbite from yesterday's news conference about you didn't think it was going to be as bad 3 years ago, and then sure enough, a year later, you still weren't back in your home. No one wants to go through that again, and I think maybe more emphasis has been placed on storm preparations into this state, not taking anything for granted. And even though we've got some good news so far this morning, we still have a very long way to go.
You're absolutely right. I'm encouraging people, even this Saturday morning when there's not a lot of rain, don't take anything for granted. I believe we must still remain vigilant. We must remain prepared and in tune. And that's why I'm encouraging everybody to stay in contact with us through our Red Stick Ready platform at brla.gov. They can also stay in contact with us on social media through Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, Red Stick Ready. And I love that term. I believe that we are Red Stick Ready.
I was out and about yesterday doing an afternoon jog, and I saw some people out cleaning up the drainage in their area. Do you think the community has kind of stepped up in preparing as well?
Absolutely. I believe that the community has identified, as we've been sharing with them, if they notice things that are on their property that should be cleaned, removed, etc., that they've been taking those steps. And in addition, I, for example, had a couple of people that reached out on social media about some areas that were still in need of assistance from the June event that we had. And so when they sent me the information, we immediately got on it, our DPW team. So when we keep those lines of communication open between citizens and government, then it helps us address those issues. And I will tell you, our citizens certainly have stepped up to the plate.
A lot of teamwork from the community, but also from city, parish, and state officials. You did mention the issue with the aqua dams concerning EBR and Iberville Parish. Just maybe walk us through the logistics a little bit in terms of different parish leaders trying to keep their residents safe, and at times the order of items gets a little bit skewed.
You're absolutely right. So, you know, I've shared that I have a great relationship with President Urso. We're colleagues, we're friends. He took the step that he wanted to protect the citizens of Iberville Parish with the aqua dam. It's one of those situations where when he puts that up, it protects his people, but it impairs and obstructs the folks in East Baton Rouge Parish. So while I certainly understand his desire to protect his people in a weather event, I have that same desire for the citizens of East Baton Rouge Parish. And so we filed an injunction yesterday to remove or deflate those aqua dams so there would be no obstruction for the citizens in East Baton Rouge Parish. And we have a court date on Monday. But my ultimate goal for the two of us is to see if there is a resolution that we can come up with and collaborate on to address that issue. You know, we're so close, we're adjacent. It's East Baton Rouge and, you know, Iberville in that particular quarter. And we both want the best for our citizens and our communities. And I think before the next event, we should be able to come up with some type of resolution.
And as of this morning, those aqua dams have been deflated?
Yes. Yeah, as of yesterday, I believe. So we're moving forward.
And moving forward throughout the day, we've mentioned several times we haven't had a lot of rain or heavy impact as of right now, but as Chad mentioned, it is a marathon. We're bracing for the worst, hoping the best as we continue throughout the day. Do you have any plans of holding a news conference or an update at any point, or are you just kind of playing it by ear based on the weather?
We will probably give an update at some point this afternoon. Of course, we've been collaborating and working in conjunction with the governor's office, and I know he has an update coming at 12:30. My goal when I leave here is to check on folks in shelter to make sure that they have what they need, and then I will be going to MOSEP, which is where we are monitoring this weather event, and certainly whatever we need to do to make sure we're serving the citizens of Baton Rouge. That's our headquarters to do so.
Having grown up here in Louisiana, having experienced so many storms over the years, over the decades, and in recent years, the resiliency, the spirit of our people, especially here in East Baton Rouge, you know, the parish, but then the state as a whole. when storms come, we are at our best, and neighbors are helping neighbors.
You're absolutely right. We are a resilient community. That's probably our middle name right now, Red Stick Resilient, Baton Rouge. And we are. We come to the needs of individuals and our neighbors. We make sure that everyone is well. Our concern for others is demonstrated at a very high level. And so I believe that that's one of the signatures of our community, our resiliency and our desire during time of crisis to be there for our neighbor.
It's great to see our community come together. Hopefully we don't experience anything like we've seen in the past with this storm, but again, as the Mayor President has just told us, everyone's in place and we're ready for it.
Absolutely.
Mayor Broome, thank you so much for your time. Be safe today. And we will continue to keep an eye on Tropical Storm Barry as it approaches. So I know it's going to be a very long day, but it's going to be a good day for us.
That's what I think, too.
All right, Mayor Broome, thank you.
Thank you.